I'm in my favourite place with my favourite boy, and it's still not even 5:30 in the morning. What a world, what a world. Just look at where we are. And I'm the only idiot out here breaking the peace. Oh, fantastic. Right, this is a nice pleasant 5 a.m. day. So I was hoping to be able to do a little bit of footage here where I was pretending to be asleep and then waking up to my 4:55 a.m. alarm. But as you can see, at about 6:30 a.m. after we got back from the walk, the dog was absolutely not for settling down and posing calmly for the camera. So just imagine me very blurry-eyed and not knowing what's going on because my alarm's gone off before 5 a.m. Now, there's a few things that I love about these early starts and why I go through the phases of doing the proper super early starts for a few weeks here and there throughout the year. And the first thing I want to say before we talk about productivity and actually doing stuff is the fitness and the enjoyment of the great outdoors element. So according to my tracker, this walk was begun at 5:04 in the morning. So you can imagine we're currently stood on one of the most popular features of one of the busiest canals in the country, and we're doing it in the height of the tourism summer season, and yet it's basically our own private playground because the world is still asleep. You can see here, even the shop boats haven't started to set up the shelves and stuff for the day's trade. So not only is this a beautiful time to be out enjoying the peace, but it also means that I can have that full experience of being out for an hour and a half, and then also still, before a lot of people have woken up, be on to productive tasks for the day. And just like going out in the peace, you're able to do this in such a peaceful, distraction-free environment as well, as I say, because you're the only fool who's awake likely. And here I am just editing this actual very video you're watching now, and doing so still well before 7 a.m. Equally, I'm trying to build up a load of articles for my website to post a quality article every day throughout August, which takes a surprising amount of work. And again, I don't do this too much these days, but I've also got the time to have a look at what's going on with the markets before the markets open and see if I think there's anything that might be worth a little investment. As illustrated by my red and green screens, it doesn't always go to plan. Depending on your lifestyle and how active you like to be, you might decide that you can wake up early and work straight through the day and be hyper competitive and productive with a work day that's 150% as long as most people's. Or you might be more like me, slightly more relaxed, and be more interested in getting a good productive day in, but also interspersing a lot of this outdoor activity and physical activity in. So whether that's me coming out for my little short walks throughout the day multiple times, or doing a little bit of work with my weights and trying to be a big strong boy, etc, etc. We won't dwell on that. But the idea is, and what I'm trying to say is that with these early starts, you can still get a full proper day of office hours in, and also intersperse some activity to break up the monotony. Well, my friends, I've just had to look for a little more cover from the trees as I've just started to get very rained on, we'll say. So you may have seen on screen, or be seeing on screen now, a list of 63 recorded activities that I've done this month, just up to the 25th of the month. And that's not me trying to brag, that's me trying to show that I do a lot of short burst activities. So a lot of these are only really short walks of maybe 15-20 minutes, or in the 3 to 5 mile range. And this is something that I started doing the best part of a decade ago, when I started to suffer from a really bad back, which I put down to spending a huge amount of time pedaling on my bike, then getting off that bike and going and spending hours sat at a desk, because during that period I was writing and releasing 2 short books a year. So I was spending a huge amount of time basically hunched over. And I almost entirely solved that with a slightly different chair, and then adding in a lot of short walks throughout the day. So rather than being some sort of fitness fanatic trying to walk 50 miles a day, instead I basically said to myself, well, if I do 5 miles a day and split that up into 2 or 3 short bursts, I'm continuously getting out of that hunched over position and putting some proper motion into my back. In a similar way to the fact that I love doing my little bits of weight training and stuff like that, just to give all of my body a little bit more of a challenge and a workout, and a bit more motion and movement than it might necessarily be used to if I did what I was naturally tending to do, which is slump down at a desk. Okay, my friends, just interrupting myself here because I am going to get very, very wet out here. So yeah, a lot of short walks and weight training and things like that, just little bits throughout the day. But of course, the early mornings give me plenty of time. That's the point. Finally, I'd like to move away from focusing on these early mornings as some sort of hyper-competitive productivity drive or some sort of personal fitness endeavour and look at it more in context of family life and relationships and so on. So you're seeing me, my girlfriend and good old Gizmo travelling in to have tea at my mum's house and then go and visit my nan and granddad as well. And this is all happening, I'd say, probably between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m, something in that region. And so at this point, obviously I've already been awake for some considerable time. But if I'd have, say, set an alarm for 7:30 and then been working at 8 a.m, rather than being on the go and doing all this stuff since 5 a.m, I might be here on this trip thinking, oh, I wish I'd have got this done, oh, I wish I'd have got that done. So broadly speaking, I do have a hope when I wake up early that by the evening I'm able to be sort of far less guilt-ridden with odd jobs and things that I haven't done for the day, because my day's obviously been so long at this point that I can far easier relax and just enjoy the dogs going wild and having a whale of a time and being with my family and stuff like that, rather than thinking, oh no, oh, I wish I'd have got this done, etc, etc. Now, this day did run a little bit late, so full disclosure here, this is one of the drawbacks, that if you do start to stray into the later hours of the night rather than getting a nice early night, this is my visual representation on screen now of being out on my feet, which is of course just one of the drawbacks to counteract the positives. But like I say, broadly speaking, I'm thoroughly enjoying early mornings. I hope that you've at least found it slightly interesting to hear my thoughts on these early starts. I feel this is an area that the older generation probably connects a little bit more with than the younger generation. And as I walk past this steadily collapsing and disintegrating road here, I suppose that I will steadily collapse and disintegrate this video and say thank you so much for tuning in. Please do check out the links in the description if you want to see loads more from the canals and general odds and ends of me doing stuff in the outdoors all over the internet. And please do consider checking out my Short Boat Life books. Remember, they gave me a bad back to write, so please take a look at them. But in all seriousness, thank you so much for tuning in. Until the next time, my friends, keep it alarm worthy, keep it boat worthy, have a fantastic day, and of course, my friends, farewell.